Recording. Thank you for giving us your time, Micki. And we're just out of a town hall, so I'm sure your day has already begun. Uh, Great. So, I'll just start with the introduction. I'm going to read about your accomplishments, the people who have just joined, and people will keep joining. So, using Micki McMillian is the CEO and founding partner of Blue Mesa Coaching and Consulting Organization. Micki McMillian is a MCC Global Chair of ICF Coach Training Board. That's where we and of PCC and MCC assessors through ICF. In addition, past president of ACTO, co-authored and designed the Transformation Coaching Program and ICF Executive Program, and has served on several boards. And her expertise is a combination of business acumen and coaching expertise, which is something that really looking at leveraging and worked at several global organizations. And something that has really inspired me in last 1 year working with Micki on ICF coaching board is her ability to stay out of the story. And I think that's what we're really looking at today, Micki. Welcome once again. And the conversation today really is about how do we become successful coaches, not only in terms of skills, because we all learn, we are passionate about it, we do everything possible, but then we don't make a great business out of it. So what exactly is the thing? So that's really the context of this conversation. Just wanted to welcome you with that context.
Thank you. It is my delight to be here, and happy International Coaching Week to all of us. And it's a proud profession, and we're an evolving profession. And I think one of the common denominators among all of us is that we want to do something to make a difference in the world and do something that matters. Absolutely. So appreciate you letting me come and brag about coaching with all of you, and I look forward to sharing the bragging rights.
Absolutely. So we decided, me and Micki decided that we keep this conversation free flowing, and for everybody, whatever questions you have, please put it on the chat. So during the conversation, we'll just blend the conversation to make it sure that it's inclusive, and definitely it'll be nice to have more voices in the room than both of us. So we want to just make it very emergent, as we call it in coaching language, right? So I'll begin with my first first curiosity, and that is what makes it a break or make deal for coaches, because we all go through coaching schools. Some people make it big. Some people, in spite of having great coaching skills, are not able to financially satisfy them. So what really happens on the journey, Micki?
Oh gosh, a lot happens on the journey, and I like to think of it in two parts. What's the inside journey of making it or breaking it, and then what are the external factors to support making it or breaking it? So I'd like to start with the inside, if that's okay, Jaya, because what we really believe in here is expressed out here. And so my mother used to tell me, watch your language. And she wasn't talking about anything other than perhaps I was using some colorful language before I was allowed to, as in, maybe some swear words. And so she'd say, watch your language. But as coaches, we have to watch our language, and particularly our self-talk. And many of you, I think, have heard the lineage of what happens with thoughts, because thoughts become language become actions become habits, and habits foster character, and then character determines destiny. So it all starts with that seed of the thought. And so it's very important to believe in yourself, believe that what I have to offer the world is valuable, and that I can do something that matters. I can be someone who matters. And what I've noticed in a lot of coaches who enter into the world is that they will use language such as, I love coaching, but I can't market. I love coaching, but I can't sell myself. And that planting those seeds of I can't then brings that to fruition. And so my first suggestion in terms of make or break is, what are you telling yourself? And I love language, and a lot of you probably do too. And as coaches, we're trained to listen for language, aren't we? And I like to think of what are the roots of language. And so confidence in the English language is con-fi. Con is the prefix that means with, and fi is fidelity or faith. Going back to, I believe, the Latin derivative. So confidence with faith in myself. I have confidence. And so what will it take for me and you to have faith in yourself? So that's the inside job. And then the outside job of make or break is doing all the hard work, and it is hard work, to be out in the world and to tell your unique story and finding the various outlets in which to do that. In North America, we have a number of nonprofit boards, and I know a lot of coaches volunteer time to go and facilitate a board meeting and offer to coach the individual board members. Mm-hmm. Sometimes those board members work for organizations who use coaches, or look at themselves and go, I could use a coach in the work that I do outside of my board. Maybe I could hire Sarah to come and help me be better. Or I could look at Karen or Nisha or anyone to help me to really be more effective in the world in my approach.
I love the way you have categorized it into internal journey and external journey, because I've always been, while I've gone through my own internal journey, right? Now I'm realizing it was all about challenging my own thought process, my own narratives, my own limitations, and say, hey, you can't do it. Yes, you can do it. Try it out. Fail. Don't worry. Just do it. Until the time I have not broken those barriers for myself, whether it is sales or marketing, whatever, I'm just realizing how true it is to just have that internal journey connected with the external, what you're doing outside, how you're approaching and all that. So wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that articulation. I think someone has also mentioned about that. So Micki, when we learn coaching skills, is there something more to learn, or is that all? Is a certificate of ACSTH or ACTP or whatever language we want to go, doesn't matter whether it's ICF or any other body. Is coaching education enough for us?
Oh, please, no. No. You're lobbing me what we call a softball here, right? Gosh, we have to be in order to be a good coach, we have to be it, right? And part of being it is to be a continuous learner. And not only in terms of the coaching skills, but being a learner about the world, and being curious about the world, and testing some of those basic competencies that are made up in our core competencies, actively listening, evoking awareness in our own selves, the mindset of a coach. All of these are beautiful thought starters in terms of, what do I need to do next to really expand my heart, my mind, my soul, my spirit, so that I can be on this journey and model it first for myself, but then for the clients with whom I work.
Yeah, my question comes mainly from when I'm coaching, when I'm training the coaches. I see, hey, I've done this certification. When will I get my ACT? And when will I get my assignments? And when will I be successful? So there is a sense of um, hurriness in the whole journey. While if I need to invest in more skills and more learnings, it's like a journey. And, that's something that I find difficult to convince people. How do we talk to somebody like them, or what do we advise them to say, hey, this is not one day job. This is it's a it's a it's a it's a process of aging, right? It needs to bake. What would you like to say to new coaches on in this forum?
Hasten slowly. Hurry up slowly. I'm curious what you said. You promised this is going to be a conversation, right? I'm curious, what do you say, Jaya, to that? Because you're a master coach. You've been out there in the world.
So Micki, I would say that I have been through that stage where you feel, how do I get the return on my education? That's very obvious to be at that stage. However, over the time, I realized, hey, there is no place to reach. It's like you're baking each and every cell of your body. If I just take the perspective or an analogy. So, but it took me time to realize that the moment you stop chasing money, it starts coming to you. You start building your skills, you start showing up, you start doing all the things, you stop expecting money to come you, and then it starts coming. You just do the right thing, do the things that you're good at, do things that you can teach to the world, and whatever you're great at. I think that has been my journey. So what kind of stories do you hear in your school? What happens? Is it normal? Is it normal to say, I want it fast, I want to get a return, I've spent already so much on my this certification, and there's nothing else I can do to build more skills? So do you hear such kind of stories there?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think the story needs to be respected. Impatience is not a bad quality to have. And so I've invested a lot of resources, my time, my money, my hopes in this ACTP program. Mm-hmm. And so why not go? I want to graduate, and I want to then enter into, the world and be successful. So I think that's an admirable trait. It's also an unrealistic one to expect to go from graduating from a program to being successful, and then it begs the question, what is success? Yeah. And if coaches, or if people go through a coaching program and what success is for them is to make a lot of money, I don't want to work with someone who wants to make a lot of money. That's a great side benefit, to make a lot of money, for example. But if that's the driver, I don't think people who are driven by making money are the ones who really are out helping people to become their best.
I so agree with you. It can't be the driver if in this career. That's what I have also understood gradually. And it doesn't mean that you do not aim for it, or you don't have ambition for it, but it's a different perspective. You can have it all, but slowly, one by one. So first become good at what you do, and serve before you expect. That's what I've been learning. Do you think that works?
Do I think it works? I absolutely do. And I got caught in the trappings of the same situation when I finished my coaching program. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of months when, I was limited at the grocery store in terms of what I could buy because I didn't have enough resources. But I was very fortunate in that life presented opportunities to me that I was able to seize. And in seizing those, I was able to then get more than just, peanut butter at the grocery store. I was able to buy some fruits and vegetables and such, because I was making more income. I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but one of the things that I found successful for me and helpful for me was to create alliances with other coaches.
Yeah.
And also organizations who used coaches, consulting firms and that sort of thing was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
And, and I was able to work with the man who became my mentor and who really helped me to get started. And he was one of the angels in my life that enabled me to then launch my career in a really meaningful way.
That's again a very interesting point, right? Right now, a lot of us, I mean, what I'm witnessing is mentoring is taken because ICF has mandated 10 hours, and that's it. So a lot of us being coaches do not have coaches or mentors. We try to figure it all. We take it like a pressure that, hey, I'm a coach, I need to figure it out myself. And that kind of puts us in trouble a lot of times. We hesitate to ask for help. We hesitate to look for mentors. We hesitate to, even if, I don't know, I'm not getting into the financial piece, but yeah, there are times it comes with the investment. And at times you can find mentors who are ready to help you. However, I've seen the willingness to not reach out. That, no, I'll figure it out. I've done coaching. I'm a coach. I should be able to figure it out. And that pressure kind of not let us move forward. Mm-hmm. So that also has been observed. I'm not sure how many people agree to that, but it's something that I'm observing here.
Yeah, and I find that very tragic, and there's something that I've learned in the last year with the tragedies of COVID, and that is how much I have missed being with my community in person. And I'm eternally grateful for Zoom and other video technologies, but I miss that being with others. And, human nature is to be in community. And the more vulnerable we are with those with whom we trust, the more internal power we feel, and I'm talking that internal power, meaning I'm good, I can do this. And as opposed to power over, I don't mean, power is such a tricky word, but I'm trying to use it in the enlightened way. We need each other, and I think every coach should have a coach. I have a coach. I've had several coaches over my career, and I have one now, and it's immensely helpful.
That's inspiring to know that you still have a coach after so much of, that's great. I mean, that's inspiring, right? That's what we need to look at, that there is always something that I can't see. There's always something somebody can look in me and tell me that, hey, I'm not believing in myself somewhere. Great. So Micki, if we have to advise together to the people on the group saying, hey, when you learn coaching skills, these are some more skills you should look at, especially looking at what COVID has done to all of us, right? What could be those top 4 or 5 skills that we can put together for them?
This is the external aspect, I think one, and I don't know if it's a skill or a process, maybe a little bit of both, Jaya, but one is to build a business plan. And there's lots of templates that you can get on the web for building a business plan. What I like about a business plan is that it creates some structure. What I don't like about a business plan is it creates some structure, and so there's something about a business plan that has to incorporate the qualitative aspects of what one wants to do in the world.
Mm.
It has to speak to the soul, the spirit, the love of coaching that need, in my view, should be in the business plan, and so some of it can be written, some of it should be pictures, some of it maybe should be music that is a foundation to remind you and me too, all of us, of what I'm doing,
Mm.
and it helps me keep my eye on the goals that I'm trying to attain. But the music, the poetry, the pictures keep my peripheral vision open so that in case there's an opportunity over here, I don't miss it. So I think one process is to have a meaningful business plan that is, if you will, left and right brain. I think another process is to actively network. Let it be known to the world that you're in the business of being a coach, and in that, let the world know. And then closely associated with that, what is your niche? And to be a coach is such a broad spectrum. So who do you want to work with? Who resonates with your soul? Do you want to work with business leaders? Do you want to work with spiritual leaders? Do you want to work with seekers? And I think it's important because in knowing who you want to work with really helps to clarify your message that you tell the world. And I see a lot of coaches who want to be all things to all people. And it's a mistake. And so I would say, another process is to focus. And the business plan can help you clarify that, but stay true to your focus. And then I think the other process is to really understand technology and what it can do to enable you to be a successful coach. And technology includes this, of course, all of us are speaking on a tablet or a computer, but also social media, and what do you need to do in social media to tell your story and to network and to be in your community?
Okay, great. So the and I think my next question is linked to that, right? And if I have the permission to add a couple of skills, I feel the ability to put yourself out there, like you said, social media, right, is something that I feel a lot of coaches hesitate from. And it's not that they can't. Interestingly, it's not that they can't. Interestingly, it's their belief system,
It's
or
their what system?
it's their belief system,
Mhm.
or language like if I'm doing a good work, people should come to me. I
Ah,
why should I talk about my people should talk about my work? And I see them not taking their journeys forward by just keeping these beliefs very, very close to them,
hmm.
and believing that, hey, if I talk about myself, it'll be too much of, people will think I'm fake. And not understanding that in this world, if you don't really put yourself out there, how will people know you? How will they come to you?
Yeah.
So going through this whole analysis, I actually feel little this thing about, what's the right word? Feel a bit sad about a lot of brilliant coaches out there who are just keeping cozy and not really trying to put themselves out there. And I say cozy because they're just not taking those chances. They're not putting themselves out there. They're not taking those risks that they coach other people on. Right. So while this is one of the reasons, what are the other reasons you see coaches are not able to take their journeys ahead?
Well, I think when you said belief system, that's a very big category, isn't it?
Correct.
And because it goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, watch your language, because your language does shape your actions, etc. And so that puts then to the inside job of what is my belief system, and then explore that. Another competency or another verb that's associated with our competencies is exploring. Why do I believe that people should come to me? And what's behind that? That may be enlightening, and perhaps you're right. Perhaps people should come to you and they should know all of the skills and the qualities that you have to present. But again, it goes back to that self-work. My story is that the belief systems are often seated in, I don't believe really that my value proposition is that important.
Yeah. Goes back to the self-work, and it goes back to your own life work. Yeah. True. And I heard someone say that coaches who are extremely successful have really made coaching their life work. And that I see that as a truth from outside at least, I see that they've really put their life work in their business. And that makes it a great combination, right? Passion and profession. How do you overlap that? How do you ensure you come to a place where you can't distinct it is passion or profession? You're doing it so passionately. Interesting.
There's something else here that you're saying, Jaya, that I wanted to highlight, and how do I say this? There's something about putting myself out into the world as if I'm putting Micki McMillian out into the world, and it's Micki that is out there. Depending on your core beliefs, all of us, my core belief is that we're all connected.
Right.
And another part of that is that each of us have some unique aspect that makes us completely different from one another. But in that connection, I'm able to highlight my uniqueness to the world that could be valuable for someone. And if that's valuable for someone, then we have a match, right? But it's different from I'm putting me out into the world, because that's a pretty vulnerable place for anyone to be.
Yeah, I realize what you're saying. Yeah, it's again goes back to the language, right? Like some people may resonate with something like this, and some people may feel very intimidated by that, saying, hey, I don't want to put myself out there. I just want to do coaching. And that's what I hear a lot of people saying, hey, I want to do coaching. I don't want to advertise myself and things like that, because that makes them pretty vulnerable or whatever. I mean, maybe it's a choice. At times it could be a choice for people. Interesting. I learned just something about my own language that maybe I'm comfortable with that language and others may not.
Well, can I just expand on that for 1 second? Because you asked a few minutes ago about continuous improvement and continuous education, and so how is it that we separate putting myself out there to gain business from me being a coach? Why isn't me putting myself out there with my unique value proposition, why isn't that part of my beingness? Why do I hold it as a separate thing?
Yeah, I don't. However, I'm trying to see if it's a language which may not resonate with some people, like we said. So if I'm saying I'm putting out myself there, which really means that I'm showing up in the world. I'm actually showing up with all the gifts I have because I'm here to serve. And that's the perspective I'm holding. And for that, I may have to do few things like write a blog or tell people or make a video or send a proposal. And it's all part of putting yourself out there. Right. And Well, yeah, I mean, it's again interpretation as to, what resonates with you. Are you okay with that language of saying, hey, put yourself out there? Because for some people, it can be, hey, I don't want to put myself out there. I just don't want to coaching. I just want few clients and I'm happy with that. Like, I don't want to show up so much out there kind of conversation. So again, if goes back to the purpose, what's my purpose? If my purpose is I'm happy coaching 3 people in a week, in a month, and that works for me, no problem. However, if my ambition and my actions are not matching each other, then what's going on? What is the conversation I need to have with myself?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Interesting. I'm going to take a pause, Micki, and ask people in the room what kind of questions are they holding for themselves? What would be valuable for them to know?
This is Kanika Kocher.
I can.
Sorry, my laptop camera is not working. I was on my phone earlier this afternoon, so it was working then. So
No
sorry.
problem.
Yeah, so I just would like to say that I'll just introduce what I do. As I said, I'm in the hospitality industry and I've been in travel for the last nearly 30 years. And over the years, I have had an opportunity to train my teams and, do these corporate training programs and coaching CEO levels, which I've done only because there was an interest. And, that's why I think I'm here today. But I feel that in any industry that you are, whether it is coaching or whatever that your profession might be, I think that time when you actually are ready to put yourself out there, that also takes time. Even though you might be heading, for me at a very young age, I was heading sales, for example, for a company like Club Med, which is a Club Mediterranean is a French resort company. And I was, I think, just about 24, 25, and I was heading sales India then. But and I was putting myself out there, but not enough. I don't know what I mean. I don't know if I can explain that. But now when I look back over the years that I've been in part of the travel, now I have my own company, of course. But now I'm very, very ready to put myself out there because I want to share with people the knowledge that I have of travel, the kind of things that I can do for people in curating itineraries or stepping up and being there on Instagram, talking about my work. So I think, I don't know, I feel that a point comes in your, in your life when you're ready to put yourself out there. And the reason that I'm here today, that I really would like to help or heal or serve, because that's what we do in the hospitality industry in any case. So I think that's a very individual thing. I feel that everybody has a point when it comes where you are ready to put yourself out. I might be wrong, but this is what I feel, that a point comes, I think, for every one of us, that we are ready to put ourselves out there and share or heal or serve, whatever. Yeah, so that's what I feel.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, Kanika, because I picked up on the travel industry aspect, because the travel industry has suffered terribly in the last year.
Yes.
And there have been a lot of organizations that have gone out of business because there is no business for travel, and so how, in your case, and I'm, pardon me for implying this, that,
No, that's fine.
but you have a unique opportunity to help those who have been in that industry to recast their offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people still want to travel.
Yes, yes, and it is the for me it's imperative right now to feel motivated and motivate my small team that I have in looking ahead. Looking ahead into the future. What are the kind of opportunities that we can give to our travelers, which would be more outdoors and more small group travel. So these are the things that I am focusing on as a travel consultant, and I'm not giving up hope because I know people are going to travel again. So sharing with them on social media, Instagram or Facebook or whatever, through videos and through conversations with them, how can we move ahead in this industry in travel? So for me, it's a very humbling experience right now. It tells you so much that there's so much to do in travel, or even helping people to understand that it's not going to stop travel, but there are other ways in which we will travel. So motivating those kind, like your clients become your friends over the years, and you sometimes I start feeling I'm their psychologist, because people are scared right now to travel, and even we are scared. It's a big responsibility for a travel consultant to kind of lead them in the right direction so that they're safe, there's hygiene, there's sanitization. So for us it's a big responsibility right now, that we are making sure that travel in the future is going to be in the right direction for them, and organizing those products so we are ready for it when it actually happens.
True.
Yes.
So the interest of coaching comes in because I think, for me, I mean, the reason that I'm here today, that I would love to do this because interacting with people, helping them understand their emotions, or helping them to get to a point where they want to be. And in our industry, we do the same thing actually. Hospitality is just about that,
Yes.
leading them to a particular place, making sure they're happy, their desires are met, their wants, or whatever their dreams of going to a particular place and exploring that destination. So I think it's also connected. It's also connected, and I'm learning every day. I feel for me it's very important to have a coach, even in travel or anything that I do for that matter, because you have to depend on somebody. There has to be some brainstorming interaction. Otherwise, it's very difficult to move ahead. I think that's what I think.
Yeah. And I like your point about the time, right? That there is a time in everybody's life to make that transition. I have another perspective, and it's and perspective, right? And so there, for some people, the change happens because situations, external situation changes. And for some people, it's an proactive internal journey. And
Right.
when we are coaches, we have to make that proactive journey to say, hey, you know, I
Yes.
will invite the change versus letting situations push me to change. That's two
Absolutely.
different things, right?
Absolutely right.
So as coaches, our role is say, hey, when we are making those changes proactively in our lives, that's what we're doing for our clients, and say, hey, if you
Right.
think about these questions at this moment, future can be better.
Absolutely. That's really nice. Yeah, that's absolutely, I believe that totally. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's
Thank
really nice. Thanks. I just want to say that I'm really happy that I came for this, this program, and even in the afternoon, Jaya, that was also very nice.
Thank you, Kanik. Thank you so much. Thanks for attending us. Let me ask, are there more questions? What are your questions that are preventing your growth? Because all of you are magnificent in your coaching. Then the reason you have come to coaching is there is something internally that called you. So what's stopping you to move forward?
Actually, I have a question.
Sure.
The thing is that, for me, I've thought so many times that I want to do this, but there was a point where Micki said that she said that there are, you need to know who you want to coach, whether it's the spiritual leaders or it's the corporate heads or the seekers. And I'm in that dilemma right now that I'd like to, I think, help the seekers, but how to go about it, do all those things, that I'll have to, of course, depend on you and talk to you further about that. Those questions always leave me confused as to what would be that point, what is that position that I want to take, where I want to help the people, what would be that scope of work. That confuses me.
Interesting. So my response to that is a lot of questions are answered when we start walking the path. So
Yeah.
a lot of answers we don't have in the beginning.
Yeah.
Correct. So awesome. Neha has a question in the chat box, Micki, for us, saying, please share any perspective on creating awareness of coaching in corporates and ROI coaching.
So specifically to corporations, as you indicate, Neha, ROI is an important piece, right? And actually, I think ROI, or return on investment, is important to everyone. I don't think that's limited to just those who are in business. There's a lot of resources. If you're a member of ICF, there's a lot of resources that you can access that are credible documentation of the ROI of coaching. And I would urge you to explore that, because there's so much in there that I've found helpful when I want to sell a piece of business to a new client. I think the other important piece of this, however, is that the return on investment for coaching isn't just, if I spend $5 on coaching, I'm going to get $10 in value back, because so much of it cannot be quantified because of the qualitative nature. And so in working with an organization, is there an appetite to measure quality as well? And qualities can be measured pretty easily, and some you have to infer, but do you have regretted turnover in your organization? And I mean regretted that I've had a lot of good talent leave my organization. Why? Or am I getting regretted turnover from a particular department? Why? Oh, maybe that senior leader in that department doesn't have good people skills, and so that's something that might need to be addressed. And so I think it's important to really be able to highlight what are the qualitative ROIs or returns on investment that need to be tended to, absenteeism, morale, employee surveys are all examples that you can draw on to highlight what is the value proposition of coaching that could help to improve some of those important indicators. Does that make sense, Neha? Does that help?
Yeah, it does, because when I speak to HR heads, and in India, at least in my experience, coaching is relatively new. So there are a lot of organizations, who are yet to try what's coaching. So they have a lot of questions, and that's when the ROI question pops up. And so I just thought I'll bring it to the session.
Yeah, I think it's a valid question, and I think coaches need to speak to that, because there has to be a value proposition. Otherwise, it isn't a valuable proposition, right? If someone doesn't care or doesn't see the benefits of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Micki. There are more questions for us. And Mary says, what's stopping me is my fear to expose myself. I'm not sure. What's the solution? Any ideas? Comes back to our internal journeys.
Oh, it does, Mary. It's a beautiful question. And I love the question. What's stopping me? Fear is a beautiful emotion, and it has some valuable lessons. And one lesson of fear is, what do I need to prevent something bad from happening? Prevent. And if something bad happens, what do I need to do to prepare? So the gift of fear is to prevent something from happening, or to prepare in the event that it does happen. The other thing that I find fascinating about the word fear is that it's always future oriented. What if? And so the gift of that is to really break the fear down. Afraid of what? And once you identify afraid of what, then what do you need to do to prevent it? What do you need to do to prepare in the event that it happens? And again, that's inside work. That's an inside job. And someone earlier said, can we really self-coach? That was in the chat earlier. I can't recall who said it. It's a great question. And I think to a degree, yes, but to a degree, don't we all need someone to help us out with these questions and help transcend fear into something that is going to enable me to take action?
That's true. And I think one of the lessons from my own journey was, till the time I'm focusing on myself, fear will appear. The moment I change my perspective to say, I'm going to help people, it changes the story. Because now it's not about how will I perform. It's more about what can I do in my limits. And that somehow changes the energy. Fear is also a process of, dealing with fear and allowing or not allowing it. It's almost like, there's an analogy that I used in one of the conversation was, hey, it's a postman. It's a postman coming to tell you and show you the mirror. So are you allowing that postman to come inside and have a tea with you and letting them sit in your house? Or are you just stopping them at the door and say, hey, I took your message. Thank you. I'll decide what I want. Thank you so much. You're not allowed inside. What are you really doing? And I saw the person I was having a conversation with, I realize I'm having coffee and lunches and dinners with this fear. So how much am I engaging with this postman is my choice.
I love that analogy. I love it. It reminds me of Rumi's poem, the Sufi poet, the poem called The Guest House. And it's a beautiful poem for coaches, you know, and in terms of this self-reflection and, you know, welcome that postman into your house and share some tea with him or her.
Yeah. And then just say bye. Don't let them stay in your house, because then
it's time to go.
yeah, then they capture your mind and hearts, and then makes us almost paralyzed, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Mary, does that resonate with you? Okay. Thank you, Mary. Okay, there is one more question. It says, fear, lack of self-belief, being an imposter, working through these is a process, journey in itself. Feel this is the hardest part, but most fulfilling once you transition through it. I so agree with you, Sindhu. That's the last milestone that we all have to cross. And once you do that, you shine without any apology. And if you're a diamond, you shouldn't be apologetic. Simple. There is no apology about what the work we're doing. Are you apologetic about the work we are doing or what? Right. So that's the conversation. Okay. So there is one more question which says, what is preventing me, or at least showing my progress, includes finalizing the effectiveness of website I built for my coaching business, shifting through thousands of professionals who can maximize my site's SEO and visibility, in future potentially choosing a website designer to build and promote my brand. Okay, so what exactly is your question? I'm sorry, I'm missing the name. Okay, I think someone dropped out. All right, Shweta says, in today's age of social media, everyone is being bombarded with messages and pitches. My fear is of putting myself out there and then not being considered genuine and getting lost in the clutter. What do you feel, Micki? I'm sure this is the same dilemma we all feel, we all go through.
All of us go through it. And, you know, and then there's going to be some who consider it clutter, some who consider it not genuine. And in my view, that's their business. And it's who resonates with you. Because if you're being genuine here in your own heart of what you put out on social media or on your website or in a blog, if you're being genuine here, someone will resonate with that. And there'll be others who don't. The one who resonates with that, or the 3 or the 5 who resonate with that, are going to be attracted to you and will see you as an authentic resource who can provide value.
Yeah, it's almost like if you have something meaningful to say and you think that there's someone who's already written about it and you never write about it, your process will never come out. And then the number of authors will go down if everybody starts thinking like that, right? It's just that so many books say the same thing, but in different ways, with different stories, different analogies, different examples. So does that mean I should stop myself because there's already so many authors out there? Or should I just show my, or I just offer whatever I have uniquely to offer? So that's how I'll respond to it, because I've been through a similar dilemma. I also go through a similar dilemma when I write blogs. And I think at times, somebody would have written it. What's the point? It's so much available on the internet. But I forget that the essence and the emotional aspect and the example and my own experience that I'll bring into the blog cannot be copied. Like I can't copy. Similarly, nobody can copy what I have to offer. So I think somewhere we have to shut those noises out there and just work with blinkers at times. Just write what you want to write, say what you want to say, do what you want to do, show up the way you want to show up.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes, Micki. Okay.
It's that reflection and the awareness of self and others, right? And in all of our coach training schools, I think it's a core part of what we teach. What occurs to me is mindfulness practice, and I'm not talking about a particular religion or spiritual tradition necessarily. I mean it from a sense of every day, are you taking time to be alone with yourself and reflect on your thoughts? You know, and mindfulness is not about stopping the thinking. You know, thinking, our minds think kind of like our mouths generate saliva. It's just what our minds do. They think. And mindfulness is about looking at those thoughts and being able to harness the energy of those thoughts and cull the thoughts that are not productive or that I don't want to nurture. You know, we talk a lot about coaching and neuroscience, and if there's one punchline of coaching and neuroscience, it is that the neurons that fire together wire together. And it's a quote from Rick Hansen, who's one of the spiritual teachers that talks about neuroscience and mindfulness. And so coaching emphasizes the wiring of the neurons that we want to become, that we want to nurture. And so that's the physiological reason why thinking is so important. So how do you know what you're thinking if you're not paying attention to your thoughts? And we do that by engaging in a mindfulness practice. The only way I know how to do it is to every day be alone with myself and pay attention to my thoughts. That's the only way I know how to do it. Others may have other ways of doing it. But it continues to serve me very well.
I so agree with you. I think everything is centering around your own work, right? Your work on yourself and making yourself better each day, facing your own fears and just increasing your own quality. And when you do that, then external is very easy to manage. Yeah. Awesome. So let me see if there is any last question in the room. I'm just so enjoying this conversation.
I have no question, but would like to express my warmest thanks for that sincere discussion. It's resonated me totally, and that's great to know that there is some kind of a connection, spiritual connection between audience and people and our coaching community. That's great. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Svetlana.
Thank you, Svetlana. Thanks for joining. And yeah, I mean, the reason we are all called to support each other has something fundamental, like Micki said, we are all connected. But do we realize that? Or do we feel that connection? Or do we understand that? Do we believe in that? Because till the time we don't reach out, then we don't ask for help. There's so much happening around. There's so many coaches ready to help each other. But am I ready to take help? Am I ready to voice out my issues? Am I ready to say that I have this problem? That's very important. Asking help is very difficult, but essential to move forward in any journey. Okay, wonderful conversation. I see a lot of appreciation and acknowledgement on the chat, Micki. I thank you for your authentic presence and your experience. Is there any one advice you would like to leave here with everybody?
Oh, just love yourself. Just love yourself. We have an epidemic of low self-esteem in our world, and all of us owe it to the world to just love who we are.
Thank you, Micki. That's very valuable. I think that's something that I'm still learning. And the more and more I loved myself, the more and more cared for myself, things changed externally. And it was so interesting that the journey is so simple. And we make it complicated. We make it about, proposals, and we make it about business development, but actually it's so internal. It's so about talking to yourself and say, hey, what's stopping you? It's okay if they say no. Just do your best job on the slides.
Yeah.
Say what you can offer, and that's it. Right? So anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Micki, for taking out time. I really appreciate this conversation. Thank you for adding value.
My delight. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.